Chapter 5 Opposites. He left me flowers, you said to yourself as you stared at your welcome mat. There was a vase of beautiful blue roses with a card saying, "I'm sorry," in big letters. You got almost no sleep last night, not able to stop thinking of the bizarre behavior Blue showed. Perhaps a better word was delusional. With a sigh, you picked up the vase and went to set it on the kitchen stand. Should you try to return these to him? For now, you decide to pick your battles and definitely make sure to return the expensive watch, grabbing it. Is it a good idea to even talk to him, though? He's not going to hurt me, you said to yourself. Well, not hurt you physically. Emotional hurt was something he did big time in the past. You swallowed nervously as you headed to the mansion, sunlight just creeping on the horizon. The patio back door was unlocked. Security, not really an issue for skeletons who could create attacks out of bone. You tried to walk softly as you entered, not wanting to wake anyone.
"What you up to, kid?"
You jumped, startled seeing Red on the couch, flicking through channels. You blinked for a second, not believing your eyes. Red was never up this early. He was wearing red pajama pants with a black t-shirt, not even sparing you a glance. Regardless of your initial determination, you didn't want to go to Blue's room and deal with what happened last night. You wanted a distraction first. So, you found yourself sitting next to Red, seeing him go from channel to channel. It looked like he wasn't really watching anything, unless you count the commercials. Red, how did Blue react when all of you found Stretch? The channel flicking stopped, Red giving you a side glance.
"Not really sure if it's my place to tell you about it. Why don't you talk to him?"
I know, it's just he showed up at my guest house last night, and, well...
"Hey, he didn't get violent or anything, did he?"
Red asked, suddenly giving you his full attention. His worry touched you for a second, which disappeared under the cold certainty his concern only extended to you due to you being his ticket to get his brother back. Still, though, you needed to learn what happened with Blue. Why would you say that? You asked, watching the stout skeleton fidget.
"Well, at first, when we found Stretch's dust, he was just crying and Classic Paps was trying to comfort him. But then we all saw the video and he, ran to his room. Came back with this letter and just started tearing it in front of us."
Tearing a letter isn't really violent, you pointed out, seeing Red pull at the leather collar on his neck.
"It's just how he did it. Screaming liar over and over again. I mean, after tearing that poor piece of paper into tiny pieces, he started stomping on them with his foot for a full minute. We, checked it out after he went back to his room. All we could tell was it being a letter from Tiffany."
Right. So he wasn't violent, but he, was acting very weird.
"Weird as in?"
As in calling me his boyfriend and talking like we were together, you said, seeing Red's shoulders sag.
"Damn, sounds like the guy's not handling reality too well. You know I come from a tough timeline. Maybe not as bad as Sans timeline, but it was no picnic where monsters were always out trying to kill each other."
Red said, staring off into space.
"There were these two royal guards, had a thing for one another, and one of them was killed. Happens all the time. The other guard, though, kept talking like they were alive, always saying crazy things like, 'Oh yeah, he's not here, had to make a stop at Snowden.'"
Did he, ever get over it? You asked, afraid of the answer.
"Define over it." Undine, stupid bitch, thought some tough love was just needed to scream at him on how his lover was dead. It didn't end well. The guy became a blubbering mess, killed by some random monster who saw his weak state as an opportunity. It was one of the marks against Undine which made her lose her captain position.
He gave me this watch as a present. I was going to try to return it, you said, pulling it out of your pocket.
"Keep it.
Red said, not even bothering to look at it. I'm not going to play along with his fantasy, Red. I mean, I won't, make him face what really happened, but I can't just pretend to actually be his boyfriend. You said. It was bad enough Blue chose Tiffany over you. Having to live a fantasy of it not happening would only be worse.
Didn't you just hear what I said?
I did. And I already told Classic Paps we need to get a therapist for Blue. I'll be talking to him about it after I return the watch. You said, getting up. Red was rubbing his forehead as he got up as well.
Guess I should come along to at least make sure things don't get crazier than they already are. But, thanks for looking into the therapy thing.
Red said, grabbing your shoulder and giving it a squeeze. You blinked, startled. Red already letting go and not looking at you.
Seriously, he probably needs it, and you're a good person for looking into it, even after what happened.
You mean when after literally everyone in this mansion let me know I was just an annoyance? Look, Red, I know you're only coming along because I'm your only hope for getting your brother back. No need to pretend you actually care about me. You said, turning to head to the stairs. You didn't see the wince or downcast stare as he followed. You normally weren't this blunt, but you were tired of, well, all of this. You didn't really want to be here, and you saw no need to make things easier for these guys. So, why am I trying to help Blue?
Ouch, kid. Really don't think I care even a little. I mean, we were drinking buddies sometimes, chatted about my chopper at the bar.
Sure, but that was just you using me as a side distraction until Tiffany was free. You said, then nearly jumped a foot as you heard a sharp snap. A quick turn of your head showed Red staring dumbly at the stair rail, the wood under his phalanges cracked.
Kid, don't say that name around here. And seriously, don't mention her in front of Blue.
Red said, gently pushing you onwards in front of him. You only had a second to stare at the broken rail before Red's pushing caused you to reach the top. I won't say it in front of Blue. Can't promise the same with you. Depends on whether you keep pretending we're actually friends. You said, giving him a glance behind your shoulder. His red eyes wouldn't meet yours.
Yeah, I get it. You don't feel like hearing bullshit. Guess I'm as bad as Blue at pretending things had been different.
Red said. You could have taken it further, really laid it on him about how you were treated, about the terrible nickname he gave you. But you came here to focus on Blue, not on Red. With a deep breath, you knocked on the door. You heard a shuffling in the bed and a grunt as someone got up. A pang of guilt hit you. Looks like you woke him. But Blue was always up super early. Red up early, Blue sleeping in. It was like you were in a bizarre opposite world. Blue appeared in a t-shirt and sweatpants, a yawn escaping his big mouth as he opened the door, and you hated how your brain thought it was cute. His yawn turned into a big grin at seeing you, which instantly disappeared when he noticed Red. He appeared to opt out of greeting Red, putting his whole attention on you.
Hello, boyfriend. I hoped you liked the roses.
Blue said, cocking his head to the side. Yeah, they're, nice, Blue. And I'm happy to have them, but I still need to return this. It's just too expensive a gift, you said, awkwardly thrusting the watch in front of you. God, you sucked at this. You wish you weren't so socially awkward, or you would have thought of a more clever way to do this. All your brain could come up with, though, is holding it out and pleading for him to take it.
Red, why are you here?
Blue asked, the change in subject making you blink.
Oh, just love seeing these romantic moments between lovebirds.
Red said with a sharp grin, hands behind his head. You gave him your best death glare at the words lovebirds.
I see. Why is your scent on my boyfriend?
Blue asked, hands on hips, cyan eyes becoming smaller. Wait, could Blue actually smell how Red just touched you? It was only a light touch on the shoulder and back. Red was starting to sweat a few red drops, taking a step back. I'm not your boyfriend, Both skulls turned in your direction, cyan eyes widening, red eyes fearful. You swallowed and continued speaking. I never agreed to be your boyfriend, Blue, which is why I can't take the watch. And don't be angry with Red. He's just worried about you, you said, fudging the truth a little. You were sure Red was worried about Blue, but also probably worried about how this morning was going to end for you.
Yeah, what the kid said. I just want to make sure you're okay, Blue.
Red said, hands held up in a mean no harm gesture. Red came from a timeline where a lot of monsters lost people they love. We were just talking about what we could do to make you feel better, you said, taking a deep breath before reaching out and putting a hand on Blue's shoulder, just like Red did for you. Blue's face instantly transformed at the touch, a brilliant smile and stars forming in his eyes. You smile back, which instantly died when you felt a large hand grab your waist to pull you forward. Your touch turned into an attempted push as you saw Blue lowering his face towards you. You were suddenly aware of just how big and strong he was. He was effortlessly pulling you in. Blue, let go! I don't want to! Thump! A bone whacked the arm holding you, letting you go. You stumbled back, finding a warm body grab and hold you while a foot came out, giving Blue a good kick. The skeleton made a grunt as his thick rib cage was hit and landed on his bony butt onto the floor.
Kid said he wasn't interested, Blue. You need to learn boundaries.
Red said, keeping the arm around your waist. You felt yourself blush at being held full body touch against the edgy skeleton. You could feel his chest rise and fall as if he had a human heart. Even felt a warm breath touch your neck. And maybe it was your imagination, but you'd swear there was a bulge rubbing against your bottom. With a squeak, you jerked forward, Red letting you go instantly, but you'd swear you heard a chuckle. Blue's face was contorted into anger.
Oh, enough of this crap.
You marched up to Blue, admittedly having a bigger skeleton as backup, making you braver. You thrusted your hand out, seeing the skeleton flinch as if you were going to hit him. Blue, take the watch, you said, practically putting it in his face. You could have just thrown it at him, but you wanted the skeleton to acknowledge he needed to take it back. Acknowledge you weren't together.
I won't!
Blue yelled, backing off and crossing his arms. You'd think you were speaking to an 8-year-old. Oh, yes, you are, and you're going to see a therapist, too.
You won't take my anniversary gift, and now you are yelling at me to see a therapist? You're a terrible boyfriend.
I am not your freaking... Your sentence ended with you pulling at your own hair, looking skyward. Blue's pouting turned into a look of concerned worry. He got up and placed his bony hand on your forehead.
Boyfriend, are you okay? You're acting a little crazy. Do you have a fever?
Blue asked with absolute seriousness. Now you know you heard a chuckle behind you. You were the one acting crazy? You closed your eyes, thinking carefully. You needed Blue to see a therapist. It was priority over anything else. Blue, I'll agree to keep the watch if you agree to see a therapist, you said, trying to speak calmly. The said skeleton withdrew his hand, rubbing his chin.
Well, if you really want me to go, boyfriend, I will. But I insist you come too.
Great, I'm glad. Wait, what?
I think with your erratic behavior, we need to look into couples therapy.
Blue said with crossed arms. Now, Red's chuckle turned into bellowing laughter as he fell to the floor, grabbing his ribs. With a twitching eyebrow, you turned towards the skeleton howling with laughter on the ground. Red, do me a favor. Go fuck yourself.
Language, boyfriend. Be ready to be destroyed, human.
No, have mercy, Papyrus.
Never!
My Pikachu! You cried as you watched the yellow mouse fly into the air. Game over in big letters on the screen. Just once, you'd like to beat Papyrus at Super Smash Bros. Sans sometimes let you win, depending on how lazy he felt during the day. Papyrus never let you win, though. Intellectually, you knew they had superior reflexes compared to humans, but you still enjoyed the games.
So when is your first couples therapy session with Crazy Blue?
Sans asked, getting 3 sodas out of the fridge. You winced at the word crazy. You had put in your 8 hours of work on the machine, and you were now hanging out with your Sans and Papyrus. No more classic Sans making you do overtime, depending on his whims, or maybe more accurately, depending on whether he could get any alone time with Tiffany. Don't call him crazy, okay? And the therapist actually convinced him to have one-on-one sessions, you said, recalling the one-sided conversation you overheard when Blue spoke to the therapist on the phone. Classic Paps came through, getting a monster therapist named Bob. No formal title or even last name, just Bob. But this Bob got Blue to agree to a couple of sessions, so he must be pretty good. Classic Paps said he got an education as a therapist to help monsters cope with difficulties they ran into while living on the surface. All in all, the whole thing went smoother than you thought it would. You explained to Classic Paps how Blue was behaving, and he was totally on board on getting him help. The only awkward moment was right before you left the mansion. Classic Paps invited you to watch a Mediton movie with him and the others. It could normally be viewed as a friendly invite, if not for the fact you were never formally invited before. You sometimes joined in on movie night when you lived at the mansion, but Tiffany was the one who always got an invite or mention of it, whether it was by Classic Paps or some other skeleton. It left a bitter taste in your mouth, hearing Classic Paps make the offer as if you were good friends, and you politely declined. Part of you had wanted to say something else, though. Sans took a seat next to you, arm going to the back of the couch. You found your head resting on it while Papyrus brushed against you with his arm. Given what they've been through, it took a month or two before these two were comfortable with any sort of touch. Then, suddenly, they were always occasionally brushing against you or ruffling your hair. You didn't mind, although sometimes it did cause a blush.
So how's Project Battering Ram going?
Sans asked, perhaps sensing you didn't want to discuss the Blue situation. Oh, great! I think I finally finished the designs for the prototype. I just need to get the parts for it, you said with a grin, going further into what Red called geek talk to explain how it worked. You missed the shared glance Sans and Papyrus gave each other